Hey VC, it's Jonathan, your cheap and cheerful record collector. Hope everybody's doing well out there today, enjoying this spring weather. So my wife's a knitter, and she belongs to a group of women who meet every other week at someone's house where they get together and knit for 2 hours and yak, whatever they do. So I was dropping her off at one of her friend's houses last Thursday, and the woman whose house it was came out to the car where I was and said, did I hear you collect records? And I said, why, yes, I do. She goes, oh, my husband has a shitload of records he'd love to get rid of. So why don't you come back when you pick your wife up at 4? My husband will be here. You go through the records and see what's what. So I came back around 4 o'clock to pick up my wife, and he was like, I don't need them. They've been sitting, he's an artist, sitting in his artist studio under a table. They weren't flat. They were packed, standing up the way they should be. And he had about, I'm going to say, a little over 200 albums, and gave me everything. Unfortunately, he really didn't take very good care of his records. Some of them are not in really good condition. These are the ones from that collection that I'm keeping for myself. There are a lot of other ones that he had, classic rock, and great titles. The Beatles' White Album, Hendrix, Axis Bold as Love, Dylan, Blonde on Blonde, more Dylan, etc. But I had copies of all those, good condition copies, so I didn't need those. But these are the ones I'm keeping, which I didn't have copies of. They're in various stages of condition, from really excellent to not so good. I'm playing them as I go through, and if they're really scratched and I can't stand it, I'll get rid of them. But this is the first pass through. I haven't listened to all these yet. I got a huge stack here, so I want to get going because I don't want to spend an hour and a half on this video. I think people get bored quite quickly. So we'll start off with the rock and roll, and first one is a Blows Against the Empire, which I think is Marty Balin and Jefferson Starship, Paul Kantner, Grace Slick, Jerry Garcia, Bill Kreutzmann, and Mickey Hart. Jack Cassidy's on here, David Crosby's on here, Graham Nash, Harvey Brooks, etc., etc. So, Blows Against the Empire, Jefferson Starship, number 1. Number 2, how about some Grateful Dead albums? How about, I never know how to pronounce this, Axomexoa, I think it's their second album. But what's good about this one, it is a white label promo, which when I looked it up is worth close to $100. Guess they didn't do many white label promos at the time. Again, not in great condition, definitely listenable. No skips, but it definitely has a lot of noise, pops and clicks. I've cleaned them all in my spin clean, and that's about as good as it's going to sound, I think. Also with the Grateful Dead, from the Mars Hotel. No, this one, I just didn't have any of these, so I'm really glad to add these to my collection. How about the Grateful Dead, the best of Skeletons from the Closet? Or how about the Grateful Dead Terrapin Station, which I didn't have, so I'm really glad to have all these. Most of these are originals. He hadn't listened to these records in at least 20 years, if not more. Yeah, the Arista label on that one. I know they live in the house they've been in now for 10 years, and he said he hadn't listened to them the whole time he was in this house, and probably 10 years before they moved. How about For Your Love? The Yardbirds. Really nice copy of this one. And this one happens to be, if I remember right, a mono press. Yeah. Mono press on that For Your Love, the Yardbirds. I'm going to run through these. I got so many. I'm not a big Queen fan, but, if it's free, it's for me. Queen, A Day at the Races. Yeah, I haven't listened to this one yet. I cleaned it up. I haven't had a chance to spin it. Looked really clean, so we'll see what that sounds like. This one I've been looking for a while. Glad to finally get a nice mono copy. And it's the Rolling Stones 12x5. U.S. press, obviously. There you go. And another one that I've seen around, and I just never grabbed a copy of it, and it's Cars. And Good Times Roll, My Best Friend's Girl. Everyone knows this album. So glad to add that to the collection. Also, introducing the Beau Brummels. Nice mono copy of this, if I remember right. Yeah, introducing the Beau Brummels. An original mono pressing of that. Has their hit song Laugh Laugh, etc. Haven't a chance to spin any of these really, so there you go, the Beau Brummels. Paul McCartney. I don't have much Paul McCartney albums. I have the double LP Greatest Hits album, which I'm happy to have, but this is sort of glad to add that to the collection too. This one I'd seen around and never picked up. Harry Nilsson with John Lennon, and this is Pussycats. And this is during their John and Harry Nilsson's drunken California trip. But yeah, this one's in pretty decent condition, if I remember right. Yeah, Dynaflex, RCA Dynaflex label. But this is an album produced by John Lennon, Harry Nilsson. This one I was like, are you kidding me? It's not a first press, but a second or third press, really early pressing of Velvet Underground. The banana's been peeled off, but in really nice condition. It's like a $140 record on Verve stereo. It's the second copy I have of this. I just keep collecting them, and the price is right. There you go, Velvet Underground. Van Morrison, Moondance. Of course, I have a copy of this, but this happens to be an original first pressing, green label with the tambourine, I guess, on the song Into the Mystic. The originals had a version where there's tambourine being played, and by the time they did the second pressing, they did a different take without the tambourine. This is the original take. So really happy to have that in. Sounds great. Really good condition. Van the Man. Jethro Tull. How about some pop-up? There you go. Elvis. Volume 1, A Legendary Performer. This has, at the time, unreleased live versions and other stuff recorded in 1956, Heartbreak Hotel. Unreleased, newly discovered version, I Love You Because. Unreleased live version of Love Me, Trying to Get to You. All 50s and mostly 1950s recordings, a couple of 60s, 61, but really early stuff from Elvis. That's the cover. Also came with a booklet, so decided I have to keep that. A couple of Boz Scaggs albums. This one is Down 2, Then Left. And Boz Scaggs, My Time. Told you I got a lot of records. This one I don't know anything about, but I thought it looked sort of cool, called Fat City. And this says, welcome to Fat City, Bill Danoff and Taffy Nevert. Never heard of them. Looks sort of folky. And I was reading the back of the record, back of the jacket, to tell you who played on all the musicians. And all of a sudden I see additional vocalists. Susan Sarandon. I never knew the actress would be sang backup, but there you go. So that's sort of interesting for that reason. Now we have a couple of soul albums. Ike and Tina Turner, Nuff Said. So a moment where they actually were, I guess he wasn't beating her in that moment. I Love What You Do to Me, Baby What You Want Me to Do, Tell the Truth, etc. Recorded in 1971. Ike and Tina Turner. Oh, this was good. This is Ray Charles. He put out the album All Time Greatest Country and Western Hits. I guess there was a volume 1 and a volume 2. This is a compilation of both those albums in one album. So that's cool. Since I didn't have the, I have a copy, but it's really beat to hell. This looks a little bit cleaner. Plus, it has both albums of country western hits by Ray Charles. Stevie Wonder, For Once in My Life. This is on the Tamla label. The little Stevie Wonder. There he is, little Stevie Wonder. Now I got some blues and folk. First one is great. This is really Reverend Gary Davis. And this is his album, A Little More Faith. I think it's his second album on Prestige Bluesville label. Just him and guitar singing, but real great country gospel religious songs. Just beautiful. Reverend Gary Davis, A Little More Faith. This one I grabbed. I didn't know anything about it, but it looked interesting. And then when Brian from Shamrock and Records found out, he said, oh, he picked it up just last year, and he'd been looking for it for a while. So it's a folkish album by Willis Allen Ramsey. I think 1971, I think, on Shelter Records. The reason I grabbed it is when I looked at the back, Red Rhodes plays on it, Leon Russell's on it, Carl Rattle, Jim Keltner, Dusty Rhodes, Kenneth Buttery, all those great guys from backup musicians. And it's on the Shelter label before they scratched out the S and had to take it out because of they were sued by DC Comics for taking the Superman logo. But yeah, I listened to this once. Unfortunately, not in great condition. I mean, I got through it, and it was just a lot of background noise, which is sort of disappointing. So I'll hold on to it until I find a clean copy out there. Here's another one. I haven't had a chance to listen to this yet. Like I said, he didn't take great care of his records. And this is Mississippi John Hurt. And this is his album, Folk Songs and Blues. See, it's all written on the bottom. There's tape on the back. But all these are going through my spin clean. So it's on Piedmont Records. So I'm looking forward to giving this a spin. And hopefully it'll play okay. I can actually listen to it. Next album is an album I had many years ago in the 1960s when I was a kid. And I've sort of been looking for a copy to bring back to my collection. And it's a Ramblin' Jack Elliott. This is Hootenanny with Ramblin' Jack Elliott, recorded live. And they got this at Sam Goody's. I like that. And this is on Prestige Folklore label. Nice label there. And on this one, he does Mule Skinner Blues, Cool Water, Talking Miner, Salty Dog, Hobo's Lullaby, Rock Island Line. I used to listen to this all the time when I was in high school in 1965 or 66. So really looking forward to spinning this again. Ramblin' Jack Elliott. And one John Fahey album, Volume 1 of Blind Joe Death. John Fahey, great primitive guitar player. Pretty great on Tacoma record label. There's Tacoma. Nice label. 1967. Now we got some jazz. Almost done. Went through it pretty quick. Keith Jarrett. My Song. Listen to this today. Recorded 1970. What did it say? 1977. Side 1 I really liked. Side 2 is a little bit too free jazz for my taste on a classic ECM label. Yeah, side 1 was really nice. I liked it a lot. And I was sort of disappointed. Side 2, they get into a lot of free jazz, which I just, not my cup of tea. But yeah, Keith Jarrett. Here's another one. Never heard of these guys, but it looks so cool I had to grab it. And it's called The Cats and the Fiddle, I Miss You So. All recorded 1939 to 1941. They were a singing group. And I guess they played music. They were musicians too, but I know nothing about them. Just called The Cats and the Fiddle, I Miss You So. Recorded in 1939. Austin Powell, lead guitar and vocals. Jimi Henderson guitar, Ernie Price tipple, and Chuck Barksdale on bass. And that's basically all four sides. One side adds Tiny Grimes on electric guitar and piano, which is sort of cool. But yeah, looking forward to that. I love that jump blues stuff, which I have a feeling this is going to be. Then, how about the great Billie Holiday? This is recorded live at Storyville in Boston in 1950s, I want to say, towards the end of her career. So looking forward to spinning that. I never saw this one before. There was a record store day issue of Billie Holiday at Storyville, which I have, but I looked it up in different songs, so it must be a different show or whatever. Never saw that label before. RIC. Rare live recordings. Billie's Blues, Lover Man, Them Their Eyes, I Cover the Waterfront, Lover Come Back, Strange Fruit, Miss Brown to You, etc. The great Billie Holiday. Then, the last three are just incredible. Incredible finds. First one is good. The next two are ridiculous. John Coltrane, and this is his album, My Favorite Things, one of the later pressings. I have a first pressing up there on my shelf, but this is a later pressing on the Atlantic, the red and green label. Still great to find a John Coltrane album. The next one is one I don't have by Coltrane, or I didn't until now. This was, again, part of that whole free group, and it's Ole Coltrane. This was not an original either, because it's on the red and the green later label. But still, this was in pretty good condition. And my feeling is you can never have enough Coltrane in your collection if you're a jazz hound. And this one has John Coltrane, George Lane, Freddie Hubbard, McCoy Tyner, Reggie Workman, Art Davis, Elvin Jones. So can't go wrong with that. Ole. And then finally, this album is the most expensive album I have in my collection. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. My heart started beating, and then I kept looking deeper, and I kept getting better and better. And it's another John Coltrane album, and it's A Love Supreme, but it is an original, with the sticker there, original mono pressing on Impulse Records. Again, it's not perfect. It definitely plays through all the way. Some of the quieter passages, it's a little annoying with the clicks and pops. I might give it another work through the spin clean. But this one, an original mono, is coming in Discog medium price at like $325. So, hard to say no for free. Like I always say, if it's free, it's for me. And on Discogs, they mention that some of them come with this sticker on the back, which this does. So really happy about that. Just amazing. And there's still stuff out there. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors that you collect records. I tell everybody whenever I meet someone new, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. I always mention, yep, I'm a record collector. And now and then someone will say, you know, I got a box in the basement I'm ready to get rid of. So, hey, thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the new subscribers I've gotten. If you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would appreciate subscribing to my channel. Leave a comment. I always answer almost every comment I get. And until next time, peace.